Hello there, my name is Thomas Novosel, and I'm going to be going over what happened on the January 9th event I ran. It was pretty much a Google Hangout and discussion over how to stream and record tabletop RPGs using Open Broadcaster software using Roll20, and then sending it to YouTube. But this can translate to whatever you use for open broadcast software when it comes to streaming and or recording your gameplay. So this is my basic setup. I'm going to show you how I get to this part, and yeah, so how to use an overlay with it. This is my layout and everything. So, but first I gotta talk about I just started this community on Google+. It's called Over the Bubs Guild of Creative Invention. The short link is right there. There will be a link in the description. But it's pretty much my idea to start a Google+ group based around sharing content, but not just dropping links, giving it so that the giving a reason so that the Google+ posts can stand on their own. Feel free to join if you are a game creator, blogger, artist, or just someone who likes to read about things or share your experiences with tabletop role-playing games. So, now that that's all over, let's begin. Alright, so as you can see, I have Roll20 open currently. I have been asked about this before, and I just use Roll20 for this case. This is the easiest way to get it set up as far as I know, so we're going to start there. Now, we'll start by stopping this preview, and we're going to create a new scene collection. We're going to call it, actually, I have one already created. Now, one thing I should mention before I start going is that my setup is 2 monitors, so I can put my my preview over on monitor number 2 while I have the first one, my setup, going. That's very important for this to work because you can't switch between windows while doing this with monitor 1. Monitor 2 is where I would do window browsing and looking stuff up on the internet if I needed to, as well as it would allow me to monitor Open Broadcaster in the window. So now that we have this set up, we're going to look at our settings. We have our setting profile right here. This is pretty simple stuff. You can send it to notification area icon, minimize the notification area. I want to go through the settings first because it's always important to have that done. Then you can start meddling with your graphics and everything. So, in general, this is pretty good. Choose your language, all that stuff. Encoding, I generally leave alone because I haven't had any problems with it before. Obviously, if you're doing video games, you may have to change some of this stuff. Broadcast settings. Currently, I have it set up for live streaming and YouTube. So you could also do file output only, in which case it would only save your recording to a MP4 FLV file, depending on what you choose. I'm pretty sure the generic is FLV, but we're going to go with live stream. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't necessarily get a video file as well. If you, normally this is unselected and this is unselected, but you can choose to automatically save your stream file, save your entire stream to a file. And then also, if your internet connection gets interrupted while streaming, you can decide to keep recording if the live stream stops. So you want to select those two. You can choose your file path for those recordings as well as name it. And right here is your play path stream key. We'll get back to that in a minute. Always apply. Now, here's something I have been asked about before. It is whether or not you want to fully stream at 1920 by 1080. If you have really nice internet and you can do it, go ahead. However, when it comes to tabletop role-playing games, 720 or 1280 by 720 will work just as well. And it will also load better for people that have slower internet, especially when you're watching a recording that's been uploaded to YouTube. So I find it's easier to just set the custom than to do resolution downscale. You want to disable arrow if you're on Windows 7 because it can slow down your computer. So now that's done. We're going to go over here, desktop audio device, microphone auxiliary audio device. So you want to choose the speaker. That gives you the voices of everyone that's playing, all the sounds that you hear, it means it gets picked up by the recording so that what you hear, everyone else who's watching will hear. And then you want to pick up your microphone. I don't remember if I've ever selected this before, but mono means that it's not going to be stereo sound. Stereo sound is where, like, if a car goes by, you hear it in one ear, and then you hear it through the other when it goes past. Mono, you just hear it in both ears consistently. So, apply, yes. Hotkeys. These can be useful, especially if you have a very loud air conditioning system or anything in your background noise, as well as if you are the game master. The mute-unmute desktop button means if you're monologuing or giving a description, you can mute it quickly, depending whether or not your players have a ton of static. But obviously you would want to go over sound settings for everyone before you start streaming. That way you can guarantee that you get the best stream possible with the equipment that you got. Over here, this looks pretty good. So let's continue. Right here, I don't really bother with this. Microphone noise gate, that means if that's so you can choose what level it starts recording your audio in decibels. So if you are a loudspeaker, but you tend to breathe a lot very quietly, you can choose that your close threshold is lower so that it cuts out the breathing if it's within a certain limit, and then that it only picks up when you are talking loudly. So let's continue. Scene switcher. This is so that you can switch between your scenes right here. These are pretty much your configurations of sources, windows, and recording. So what people see can be considered a scene. So what overlay you're using, what webcams are where, and what you are showing everyone. That is a scene. And you can switch between scenes using hotkeys if you want. So you could have it set up on your number pad that when you press number pad 2, it switches to scene 2, or number pad 1, it switches to scene 1. So that's the general idea here. One thing I did not mention was that up here, when you switch to YouTube, it'll generally say in red ink right here, optimize. So let's see if we can replicate that quickly. We're going to press OK. Settings again. We're going to come here. All right, there we go. Warning, your OBS settings are not optimized for use with YouTube. Please set the following. Advanced settings, set a keyframe interval of 4 seconds. Click the optimize button to automatically make the required changes. Just press this button and it'll fix it right up for you. Otherwise, you can just go to advanced yourself and change keyframe interval seconds 0 equal auto to 4. If it sets optimize, I generally just press optimize. It's much easier. And now we will get to doing our layout. Currently, our stream is blank. We have no video going anywhere because we have not set it to go from here to there. And we have also not set up any graphical elements at all. However, you can see that my audio is going through nice and clearly. And if I had set up a song to play, it would be picked up on the desktop level currently right here. So let's stop that. And we're going to set up some sources. First one we're going to do is going to be our little, we're going to first set up our overlay. So overlay image, we're going to choose it, and I have it right here on the desktop. This is one that I used for the presentation. It's a pretty simple one, and it gets things along just fine. You can check for file changes. So if you change, if you keep all your graphic resources for this kind of stuff in one folder, and you are consistently naming things, when you edit the file and you press check for file changes, when you open up OBS, it will update what overlay is being used based on location and file name. So you make a slight change to a wording, it'll just update it. So we're going to select that just for fun. Now if I preview, oh look, I have my overlay image, but there's no people and there's no Roll20 in the center, which is what I'm aiming for. So I have Roll20 set up on this monitor, on monitor number 1, which is my 1920 by 1080 monitor. It is important to have monitor 1 set up in this way so that there would be nothing else on it. OBS would normally be on monitor 2. But this will work just fine for now. So we have our preview. We're going to add window capture, and we're going to call this the Roll20 map. Now, oh shoot, oops, I meant to say monitor capture, Roll20 map. All right, we select our monitor, which is 1. That's the 1920 by 1080, where I'm going to have all the YouTube where I am actually playing the game. Now we're going to choose subregion. That means it chooses a subsection. I can select, say, a smaller version of it. So it's kind of like cropping the screen while it's doing stuff. We're going to select region, and it becomes white. Press enter, escape, or click outside this rectangle when complete. We're going to drag down the bars so that it covers up only where my webcam would be normally. All right. And then we're going to press enter. Okay. Now we have a little video guy of me right here. We're going to arrange that below the overlay, which, if you need to know, it's a PNG file. Just ask anyone, or it's usually a general image export. It allows transparencies, which is what these black spaces are. They are transparencies in the image. So we're going to drag my little picture over here. We're going to drag the corner, center it a bit, and there we go. We have one of me. Now, oh shoot, that was supposed to be the, well, that's easy. We can just rename it to player 1. Now if I decide I want to add another one, we're going to add 3 more players. We're going to go through the same process again. Now, it's pretty easy to just select. If you know the dimensions or the coordinates on your screen already, you can choose position and set your sizes. It'll make it easy, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done because it doesn't take that much effort to just redo it. So we're going to move that down. We're going to edit this so that it's over here. And that'll be player 2. All right, next one. Player 3. All right, this time we're going to do something different. We're going to choose monitor 1. We're going to choose our subregion once again. And we're going to do, the one thing we're going to do different is we're going to add a color key. Now, if you've ever seen anyone where they have kind of like this crisp little line cutting out around them, kind of like how a green screen works, so that you can put yourself over it with only having you and not your background. You have a weird colored green sheet behind you with good lighting. We're going to do something similar to that, but we're only going to use this picture. So we're going to use our chroma key. We're going to select this color. All right, now you can come back here, and we're going to move me over here. And look at that. The beard is now gone. And you're going to see how that affects our video in a second. Player 4. Now, the reason I have it going like this, and that I don't use Hangouts or Skype currently, or specifically I'm not talking about Hangouts and Skype, is because I find that this is the easiest way for anyone to just set up and go, because it takes very little effort. As you can see, like, the actual setup time is not that much. The learning curve isn't that bad. Whereas there are other software, there are other options such as XSplit Broadcaster, which again is a little more complicated. You can do more stuff with it. You can do the same thing right now. The only difference is that it is not as free. It has a free version, but you got watermarks and fun stuff like that. All right, now we're going to add our Roll20. choose subregion. We're going to make it to be about right in my black box for this example. You don't have to have a black box. I just find it'll make it easier for this case. So we do that. Okay. Oh, look, it's over on top of everything. What do? We press order. We move down beneath the overlay. However, we want our Roll20 to be on the very, very bottom. So we're going to move to bottom, and it's there. We're going to shrink it down a bit so that we can get it right to fit. All right, there we go. And as you can see, it's capturing everything that's going on in that section. If I were to move my mouse over here, it captures it in all of those. So that's how you set up your webcam and everything. If you want to edit your image, I would suggest doing something where you have nameplates, such as adding a character name, a player name, a Twitter handle, whatever you want to use. Other big suggestions for at this step is that you make sure you do audio tests. So you make sure everyone's audio is semi-equal, and that when you do a test recording before you start streaming, that audio is very level. So you don't have too many people that are like much, much louder that could drown out other people's weaker microphones or weaker sound levels. So we're going to stop preview there. Now, that's pretty much it. It is not that difficult. The overlay itself is just a PNG image that I made using Photoshop. You can use any kind of software you want, though. You can just cut out the sections where you want your webcam videos. You could also do a similar layout where you have your dice over here. So if I were to say roll some dice, you can have it so that the latest dice roll, so like a block about this big, is thrown onto the overlay or onto the stream so that people can see the dice being rolled. Another recommendation you can do is just have only the players and no Roll20. If you're not really using, you're doing more of a theater of a mind or role-playing aspect currently, and you're not doing combat, that's one way to make it so you don't have one giant space that's not being used with no activity in it. That really helps sometimes. Now, what else was there? Oh yes, we got to go back to our broadcast settings. Play path, stream key. I'm just going to go over where you can find that quick. Go to YouTube. You press your account. Go to Creator Studio. Live streaming. And it'll be down here. You want to press reveal and then copy and paste that into here. And that's all you got to do. Similarly, I'm pretty sure Twitch has something like that. Just in that case, you would select, in your settings, you would select Twitch, and then you would put that there, and then maybe you choose that. Let's see. Yeah, Twitch has different settings too, so you ended up having to change it a bunch. Now, final thing worth mentioning, when you do settings, those are considered profiles. So you can say export. We'll call this profile recording. That way, if you get a weird crash or update to open broadcast software and lose your profiles, you can import it and get it right back on here, and you can get back to streaming as quickly as possible. You can also export your scene collections. And bada bing, bada boom, they're down here. You can import them, all that fun stuff. So, that is pretty much all there is to say about this stuff. I'm going to have future events coming up. If you find this very useful, let me know. Talk to me on Google+, Twitter, whatever you want to do. And I guess that's it for now. That's what the entire presentation was. It was pretty much me going through the steps and then showing how I did it quickly. This is the easiest way to set it up. There are obviously more complicated methods. You could have scrolling text across the bottom of the screen. You could have fancier overlays in which you use multiple overlays to give something. Like, there's tons of different ways this can be done. This is just the easiest way to do it quickly. And it only involves Roll20, pretty much. So Roll20, OBS, and then some kind of image software. Now, questions that came up during the original presentation. Why didn't I use Skype or Hangouts for videos? Hangouts, they can have weird dimensions for videos. Skype, I haven't tried using before. I find that it's easier, the simpler the setup, the easier to get it done. In which case, this is the easiest way you can do it. You just have OBS on one screen, and then you have Roll20 on the other. And you record off of Roll20 your audio and your video. And it's usually not that bad. Now, one thing that I have noticed about some people who have talked about streaming their games, you want to make sure you have decent upload if you're streaming from software such as this. Your upload and download speed. That's right, your internet service provider usually gives a smaller upload speed and a huge download speed. Now, the reason you may say, well, I do pretty good at sending videos right now, and playing online. Everyone says my sound quality is good, my video is pretty good. Well, we're not really worried about that. What we're worried about is the quality for the people watching your stream. In which case, while you're playing a game and streaming, you are sending your video and your audio, and then you're also sending the audio and video of your stream across your internet. And that can be pretty taxing sometimes and result in really choppy video, skips, disconnections, bad audio, and it just makes it very unpleasant for everyone. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, leave a comment, hit me up on Google+, talk to me on Twitter, whatever you want to do. So, future events, I usually announce on Google+, so if you're interested, talk to me there. Once again, new community, I'll probably be talking about events there, including video editing, audio editing, cleaning up your files so that you can push a recorded video onto YouTube or any other video hosting service and make your stream video into a more professional archive kind of type thing, kind of version of the video. So you just check it out, Orbit Above's Guild of Creative Invention, and I'd love to talk to you about it. If you have any experience streaming live games, well, hit me up on there, talk to me. I'd love to hear your experience. And yeah, so that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the future as well as in future videos and stuff. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Okay, again, this was Thomas Novosel from Orbit Above Games. Have a good one.